and welcome. If you're new, my name is Kari, and on this channel we chat about everything midlife. Today's topic, sleep disturbances in middle age. Middle age seems to bring with it a frustrating inability to achieve a restful night's sleep. What is it about this particular stage in life that causes such a disruption in our nightly routines? Is it something physiological, or is it simply a habit or behavior that's common in middle age? Also, are these midlife disturbances avoidable or reversible? Or is this simply something we have to endure at a certain age? Stick around and let's chat about it. By sleep disturbances, I'm referring to anything that gets in the way of a restful night's sleep. Do you have trouble falling asleep at night? Do you lay there quietly, make sure it's dark, try to only go to bed when you're feeling exhausted? Perhaps try a nice warm bath or fuzzy pajamas, even warm milk, but no matter what you do, you just simply toss and turn and toss and turn for what seems like forever. Or you fall asleep fairly easily, but you can't seem to stay asleep. You find yourself waking frequently throughout the night, and it seems to take an exceedingly long time to get back to sleep. So you find yourself roaming the hallways, trying really hard to avoid snacking at 2 o'clock in the morning. Do you consistently get far less than 7 hours of sleep every night, and you wake up every morning completely exhausted and feel as if you need a nap halfway through the day? But you know you need to avoid this at all cost, or you will be up all night again? If you suffer from any of these things, and you are middle-aged, you are suffering from a midlife sleep disruption. The first step in tackling this nightly nightmare is to discover the cause of the issue. So, what exactly does affect sleep in middle-aged women? Well, there seems to be 4 main categories causing sleep disturbances. The first is underlying health conditions, and it's important to rule out this category before considering any other possibilities. Things like diabetes, thyroid imbalances, cardiovascular disease, restless leg syndrome, even kidney problems can affect sleep. So make sure if you're suffering with a sleep disruption that you visit your doctor first, just to rule out any medical problems. If you're otherwise healthy, then it is possible that one of the following possibilities may be a cause for you. The second category, hormones. Sleep is very sensitive to hormone shifts, and sleep deprivation can further affect hormones. So this ends up causing a chaotic, never-ending cycle of sleeplessness. Now, every woman at some point in their midlife will enter perimenopause, and that is one of the biggest reasons for chaotic hormones. So it makes sense to me that women in middle age would suffer from sleep disruptions far more than other people. Erratic hormones causes the dreaded hot flashes of perimenopause. This is a big complaint for many middle-aged women and makes sleeping an absolute nightmare. Turning on fans and opening windows, having both feet sticking out of your blankets in the direct path of the fan, yet still waking up overheated and in a complete sweat. Not a pleasant experience, ladies, and understandably affects sleep. Loss of estrogen can also affect the muscle tone in the upper airways and lead to a midlife onset of sleep apnea. Now, this is something that is very, very scary and absolutely impedes a restful night's sleep. This is something that needs a doctor's treatment right away. Hormones can also affect the third cause of sleeplessness, but they're not always a factor. I'm talking about mental health issues. By this, I mean things such as depression and anxiety. They often rear their ugly heads in perimenopause, but they can and do occur for other reasons as well. Anxiety has many different faces and can manifest itself in several different ways, all of which affect sleep. Some women awake in an absolute panic. Their heart is racing, their chest is tight, they're feeling breathless, sometimes they're feeling sweaty. They have these overwhelming sensations of doom. It makes perfect sense to me that waking up in that state every night would definitely affect a good night's sleep. Other women suffer anxiety in a more cerebral way. They're the ones with the racing minds, the brain that won't slow down, so to speak. They're the overthinkers that lay in bed at night and just cannot slow down the mind and unwind enough to fall asleep. They often wake up several times at night and repeat the process over and over again. They suffer constant irrational fear and worry. They run through every minute of their life over and over again. What happened? What will happen? How will I cope? How will I find the time? What's going on with my husband? What's going on with my children? How much sleep am I going to get before I have to wake up and go to work in the morning? How am I going to work on little to no sleep? I'm a little bit guilty of this myself on occasion, looking at the clock every 10 minutes and doing the mental math on how much sleep I am actually going to get before the alarm goes off in the morning. Sound familiar? This never-ending internal dialogue also occurs in depression, and depression is another huge one for sleep disruption. The fourth leading cause of sleep disruptions in midlife is lifestyle. Stress, busy schedules, caffeine, even cell phones can affect sleep. Midlife is a very challenging time for many women. They often find themselves trying to cope with the unwanted surprises of perimenopause while trying to juggle their jobs and their very busy lives. It's very, very stressful, and stress absolutely does cause sleep disturbances. Our cell phones can be huge sleep disruptors if we're using them at night. The brain detects the white and blue light from our phones and shuts down production of melatonin, which is the hormone that triggers sleep. So if you're laying in your bed at night, scrolling through your phone for an hour before you go to sleep, you're probably not doing yourself a service. Another personal choice that nonetheless affects sleep is simply not allotting enough time for adequate sleep, because we just simply have too much to do and there's just not enough hours in a day. Also, we may be consuming way too much caffeine so that we can stay awake and meet our deadlines and get our work done. I may or may not be slightly guilty of this myself. Since sleep is crucial to muscle and organ repair, strengthening the immune system, balancing hormones, and restoring energy, is there anything we can do to try to alleviate some of these sleep disruptions? I think so, and I'm going to offer a few suggestions. If there are any suggestions that I do not mention today that you feel are important, please leave them in the comments. They may be helpful and useful to someone else. Now, the simplest solution is to simply just take something to help you sleep. Some women have success with that. My personal worry with that, however, is that if it's something you're taking on an ongoing basis, it is possible for your body to build a reliance on that product, in which case it's just simply exacerbating the issue. Now, another option would be to take a supplement rather than an over-the-counter medication. And many women do find that they get relief from their sleeplessness from certain supplements that are on the market. However, supplements can also come with their own list of side effects. And ladies, aren't the side effects from perimenopause enough? Changing your sleep habits and establishing a pre-sleep ritual may be beneficial in preparing your brain for sleep every night. This could include things such as not eating before bed, taking a warm bath every night, putting on your favorite snuggly pajamas, reading quietly for an hour every night, on the couch, not in your bed, drinking warm milk, whatever works for you to program the body to enter sleep mode every night before you crawl into bed. Also, make sure to limit or avoid all activities that impede sleep. Try to avoid consuming caffeine after lunch or eating a heavy meal in the evening. Try to avoid doing any type of exercise in the evening. Make sure if you're exercising, you're doing it in the morning or earlier in the day. Too much sugar can also be a serious issue for some people. Pay attention to what sets you up for a sleepless night and make sure to avoid those things. Try relaxing the mind as well. By this I mean, try not to choose the evening to pay all of your bills and stress over your finances. Try to settle your arguments and disputes with your spouse and children earlier in the day, if you can. Try not to sit in the evening and rehash something negative that happened to you at work that day. Just simply try to relax the mind and body in the evening and put your brain into quiet mode before you climb into bed. This next suggestion is one I struggle with myself, but it is beneficial, and that is try to avoid electronics at night. The blue light emitted from the screens restrains melatonin, the hormone that is responsible for the sleep-wake cycle, which makes it very hard to both fall asleep and stay asleep. And I know it's extremely hard to do. I often find myself scrolling through my cell phone before I go to sleep as well. I know, but do your best. Another suggestion that seems obvious but is sometimes very hard to do is to avoid napping during the day. Believe me, I know that it's easier said than done when you're not sleeping well at night and you're absolutely exhausted during the day. But for a lot of women, like myself, if you sleep during the day, that pretty much sets you up for a sleepless night. So if you can, try to avoid sleeping during the day at all cost. Also, try not to dwell on the sleep loss. I am guilty of this one myself. Try not to look at the clock and recalculate in your mind every 15 minutes how much sleep you're actually going to get before the alarm goes off. This act in itself could keep you up hours longer than necessary. I know, it's easier said than done, right, ladies? The shifting hormones in perimenopause seem to play a pretty big role in causing sleep disturbances, in addition to lifestyle choices and habits and the stresses of midlife. But there are some things that we can try to alleviate some of those causes and allow us to regain a restful night's sleep and awaken in the morning happy and rejuvenated and ready to take on the day. I hope this video brought you some value. If it did, and you think you may be interested in seeing more of my videos, consider subscribing and click that bell so that you will be notified whenever I release new content. Live your best midlife, everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.